To the channel. So today we're going to be doing the 90,000 service on the ML. So we'll just go through what we're looking at putting in there. But even first up, the first thing I did was give the car a bit of rinse down outside, and also just washed under the bonnet. So if you're wondering what all this water's about, I just normally give it a bit of a rinse with the pressure washer, just get the dust off before we get started, and we'll give it a clean up as we go. So a few things we'll be doing today. We're going to do the oil and filter. So we've got so while the oil's just settling down, I'm taking the level and filling that up. I've got a bucket under there and a pipe. I'll show you how that's working in a minute. I just took off this front tray. So that one's got, another 8 bolts. There they are there, 10 actually. There's 2 on the front and these 4 on the sides. And that's a good little under tray to take off. Just get down there and show you. So it gives you access all under this front cross rail, which holds the radiator. It's an aluminium one, it's like a crash bar really. You've got the fan assembly, a lot more room at the front now. You can see I've removed that centre vent. And now we're just going to open up this tap and hopefully get the coolant running out. Okay. So that's a miss because that's actually not flowing. Alright, we'll work that out. Let me come back in it. Okay, so the way that works is it turns through 90 and then you've really got to force it and pull it out slightly. And then you can see it just starts to come out. And look at that nice rusty water. And you can drain the coolant. Finally. There we go. Okay, let's get out the way and get that draining down. Does look a bit brown, doesn't it? A bit pink and a bit brown. Making a few noises. Probably about, that's a 10 litre bucket, so probably about 6 or 7 litres already. Just coming down the last bit of these pipes. All looking okay. And there's the level mark for the refill, just inside the water tank there. Bit of effervescence on the cap there, so a little bit of leaking, but not too bad. I might just put a bit of lube on that seal. Okay. The coolant warning system's working. That's the compressor on the suspension. That'll have just spun a bit of water around the water pump and help drain that down. And all the solenoids go nuts. So I think we'll just give that, put a bit of water through the coolant, get that drain plug back on, and then clean up under the engine, and then we can get on with the top end. Okay, so I can now take the tube off that we put on to get the fluid down into the bucket, and just to show you how this valve works, I'll just try and do it so you can see. As you turn it through the sort of first part of its motion, that first sort of 20 degrees, it just starts to go in, and as you screw it in, that's the 90-degree position. And then if you just keep pushing, I don't know if I can do it, there we go, do it with my hand, that's fully closed. So sort of rustiness is just the pink in the fluid. Okay, so we've got that back together, so we'll get up on top and start putting the fluid in. Okay, so let's just go in slowly. And it is coming up to the top occasionally. I'm just leaving it a moment, and then also squeezing the both the top hose and the bottom hose, just to make the water move around inside the engine and the water pump and the like. So you see there, it's just bubbling through. So I'm going to put the whole of this OEM fluid in, and then I'm going to top off with distilled water. Sorry, demineralized water. You might just stop there, so that's got another litre or so to go. So it started at 4 litres, 5 litres, sorry. It's probably about 1.5 litres to go. So that's 3.5, so I'll put 3.5 of water in. I'm just going to check if you can put it in at over 50%, and then we'll keep going. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. So we're just going to put it all in, and there's obviously still some fluid in the engine from before, so in places like the water pump and some of the galleries, and so this is going to get diluted anyway with some of that water, and then we'll just top off with the demineralized water when we're finished. I'm just struggling getting this all in at the moment. You just wait a couple of seconds and then you get those bubbles. But anyway, rather than you're watching this, I'll just get all of that in and get on with the water. So now it's a week later, been running the car. The car's cooled down, so we'll just take the cap off and check the level. So you can see it's gone down a little bit. That's just going to be the bubbles in the system. So just filling it up just above that white plastic line. Looks like that's taken about, say, 1/2 litre. And we'll check that again in another week after running it some more and see how we go.